So hello and good afternoon, everyone. So thank you again for joining this free online lesson. My name is Nabi Fikri. I am from ICAD Systems. So for today's free lesson, so I would like to share with you about the Inventor Bill of Materials. Right. So if you use Inventor before, so I believe you should be able to notice the bill of material content that you can use. Essentially, there are two parts. One is the bill of material, and the other one is a part list. But the part list is not like a bill of material. It's more on the documentations where you take information from the bill of material. Right? So that is the part list. But for this topic, we're just going to focus more on the bill of material. And essentially, we're just going to take a look on how we can manage our bill of materials, manage our parts, and how we can use this to uh, create or edit our component inside. All right. So with this, let me switch to Inventor. So over here, I have a sample drawings. On the left side here, you can see I have a few part over here, right? And I have the sub-assembly. So if I want to take a look on all of the part from the assembly, so I can go to the bill of material over here and it will show you all the part that you can see from the model. So that is from the model data. And if I want to take a look a bit more down, I can drop down from here and you can see we have some more parts from these sub-assembly parts. And alternatively, we also have the other two parts. One is for structure, which is where you can see the structure at the top. So currently it's disabled, so you can right click and turn on for enables. Or maybe you just want to see all of the part only. So you can go over here and enable the part. And alternatively, on the structure, you can also show the a few more sub part inside of the assembly. So what you can do is that you can right click on the structure and you can select view properties. And over here, you can see we have the first level. What you can do is that you can select all level. So it will show a bit some more. And if I want to see it clearly, so I have this item over here that indicates 8.1, 8.2. So this one indicate that this is item from assembly 300, which is 300 channel done over here. Right. Alternatively, you can also see that we have a point over here. So you can edit that. Maybe I don't want to see a point for the delimiter. Maybe I want to see a comma. So it will show a comma. Or maybe I want to see a slash. Or I just want to see these two dot over here. So you create a dot over here. Right. So over here, we have a few tabs that we can control. So if I want to move at the front here, I can use this to move at the front. Some of those maybe I don't need. I can click and I can drag out and it will disable that part. Right, so if I would like to add some more tab over here or some more column, so you can go to the top here, we have the column chooser. So if I click here, I can add some more. Maybe I want to add something like appearance. So I can just double click and I can see the appearance. And most of the time, you should also be able to see the thumbnail of each of these individual items. So for that, again, you can just pick a column. Maybe I want to see a thumbnail. Okay, I can just double click. So it will show me thumbnail. And I also maybe want to see a bill of material. So I can find, oops, sorry, maybe I want to see the material. So I can just double click the material and it will show me this material over here. Right, but sometimes maybe you don't want to see the thumbnail because it takes a bit some more space. So you can just click and you can also drag out and re-add back again later on if you need it to. Right, so we can organize our column over here. So if you want to, you can also sort the column. Right, maybe I want to see based on, say, an item name, for example. So I can click item name. And I click OK, and it will try to sort based on item name. Or maybe unique quantity first, or appearance, Let's say I'll pick appearance over here. So you try to rearrange appearance starting with the alphabet A, B, C, and so on. But for this case, let's say I would like to move back to default. Let's say I just leave it back to uh, part item. But you can also reorganize manually. So what you can do is that you can just click over here, and then maybe I want to put it right over here. Okay, you can see I have item number 1 at the top here. I can just drop, and maybe I put somewhere down here, or maybe this sheet metal part here. You can also drop, but maybe this one I put somewhere at the top here, and I have something like this. Okay, so you can reorganize that, something like that. But if you see here, our item number already not organized, right? So what you can do is that maybe I want, since I rearrange the part here and I want to start from the top to bottom, the number, so you can use the renumber the item from here. And over here, maybe I want to start with 1, so I can click 1, and you will see it will try to propose the number from the top to bottom. Right. And also we can easily see or differentiate between part files over here. We have a normal parts, we have assembly, and we also have sheet metals. And let's say if you add some more parts, let's say part from content center, it will also show that icon here. Right. So you should be able to see I have the icon for the content center part, and you should be able to see it right from here. Right. So other things that I can do from here, I can also add the items, which is not being added over here. Maybe I have something that I don't want to models. I can add something like a sticker or some things, and I can do that using the create, or I can also use the bill of material. So if I do it from the create over here, I can put a name. Maybe I put it something like a sticker, for example. Okay, maybe sticker ones. So to make sure that I don't have to create a new part just for this assembly only, so I can click virtual component, so I don't have to do any modeling. But it will tells you that we have a part inside over here, which is a virtual. Alternatively, if I go to bill of material, you should be able to see that. And I can also do that from here. If I click create virtual component from here, and maybe I put this one as, let's say, stickers 2, for example, so you can also do that from here. Right. And sometimes maybe you want to disable an item. So what you can do is that you can just go over here and you can just right click and also suppress. So currently we have, let's say spring over here. So I can right click and I can suppress this spring, and maybe I don't want to see this screw as well. So I can suppress this one as well. And if I go back to bill of material, you see that the quantity is set to 0. By default, you should be able to not see that here. Okay, so that one can be toggled from the top here. Over here, we have hide or show quantity. So if you already suppress some of this, so most of the time it will not shown inside of bill of material, but maybe you still want to see that. Okay, so you can see I cannot see some of the part. So to see that, I can just toggle this one, and I should be able to see the item that has been removed, but the quantity is set to 0. But for now, let me just turn back on again. And I'm just going to leave the spring and also the screw here. And I can bring this bill of materials information into the 2D parts, which is for documentation. So if I go, if I right click over here, I can create a drawing. Okay, let me just put it out here and maybe make it slightly bigger. And if you want to add the BOM list inside the part, so you can go to annotate and you can select the part list. And here, basically, you can just select the part and you can specify whether you want to see the top structure only or all of the individual part only. So you can click over there and click OK. And when I put it over here, then you should be able to see all of the parts. And you should also be able to see the part that has been invisible. Okay, so if you don't want to see the invisible part over here, so what you can do is that you can just double click, and when you double click, you should be able to see the bill of material that we have. So basically, take this bill of material and put inside of this table here. Right, and I have this part which is 0 that I don't want to see, so I can right click and I can turn off the visibility from here. I can turn off for the screw one. And essentially, I can also turn off the items that not 0. Maybe I don't want to see the sheet metal parts. I can also make this as invisible. So when I click OK, all of those will be removed. So again, if you want to turn back on, so you can just unselect and just make sure to turn back on the visibility from here. And alternatively, to add the column, so you can find from here, column chooser. So it's a bit different. This time you have a button that allow you to add or remove. Maybe I don't want to see the description here. I can just remove. And if you need to find the say the materials, I can just find the material from here, or maybe mass. Okay, I can click to add. Maybe I want to add, let's say, materials, and I can click OK. And once I click accept, now you should be able to see the mass and also material has been applied from here. And you can also double click to open that. But for this case, let's say I want to filter out maybe some of the things that I don't want to see from here. You can also use the filter settings. One example here, let's say I want to put a balloon, but at the same time, I don't want to see the parts inside of this part list over here. So I can just filter to only show balloon item only. So I can add a filter. So when I click OK, you should be able to see that the list is empty. So when I set that, now you can see this is empty. Now once I add a balloon and I right click and continue, that it will add the part one by one. Right. So again, this part list here, you can edit. Let's say if I go back to this bill of material over here, and I can add a new value, or maybe I can just turn back on the, let's say, the description that I already add over here. So we have already had, okay? So to add that, I can just go over here and then I can type something, okay? Okay, I can input the description manually that I want over here. And if you have something like a material or appearance or the quantity over here, you can also edit it from here. Now, let's say if I have something like an appearance, let's say this part over here, this is actually, okay, let me just check back. Okay, let me just come back. Let's say if I have this part over here, and then you see that this is applicable for everything. Maybe I would just want to have an individual part, let's say this one. Okay, so this one is actually an aluminum flat for appearance and material. I can override this. Maybe I make it something else, maybe steel, for example. When I press enter, so it becomes steel. Okay, or maybe I put this one as steel 1, for example. Now, if I try to put steel 2, so you can see that it still stay with the steel 1. So if I go back and edit it from the material here, oh, okay, let's say I put this one as steel 2, okay, and you see that it's still available and it shows as steel 2 over here. While this part here, I cannot. So the reason why I cannot is because it's allowing you to switch the material that you want from here. For example, here, I can still do it from here. The default one, the quantity, I only have 1. If I put it some more of this item over here, I should have 2 of this. Now, let's say if I cheat a bit, and I put this one. Actually, I have only one. Now you see that it become blue color. So the blue color meaning indicate that we actually override the value from here, which is basically what you see from the drawing part here. When we try to debug, you can see this highlight with blue. Okay, if I go back here, you can also, instead of cheat a bit, let me just delete back and set back to default. The material here, I want to change to, let's say, gold or maybe aluminum. So you can do it from here, right? So I can type the name, or I can also use the drop down button from here. So let's say I pick stainless steel over here. So you should be able to change the color. Let me just change to something, let's say glass, for example. Okay, I cannot see it from here. But let's say if I change to the appearance, okay, I believe the appearance is taken, okay, the material is actually taken from the appearance over here. Let's say if I change this into blue glazing over here. Now you should be able to see it has become a see-through. The color has been changed. Okay, I go back over here. Maybe I want to change the, let's say this part here, the chrome here. Okay, I drop down and maybe I pick, let's say metal hot. Done. And then you see that it changed the color from here. So you can also edit the value or edit the properties from here. And one of those is that, for example, if I have some custom informations that I want to add. So to add that, you can use this add custom add properties. You can drop and then you can create a new one. Alternatively, to create, you can also create from the add properties from here. Yeah, I believe it should be down here. Okay, for this case, maybe I want to select on the assembly over here. So I can go to the add properties. I can go to custom, or maybe some equipment or some information that I want to pick from here. I can do it from here. But for this case, I'm just going to create a new. Maybe I want to put this name as a, say, custom style, for example. I can put a type. Maybe this is text, a number. For this case, I'll leave it as a text. And I can create add over here. So, and we have the value. Maybe for this case here, let's say style type, and I can press key, and I'll go back to bill of material. I can now add that on the iProperties customs. If you drop down, we have that inside of here. Or alternatively, you can also create a new one from here, new customs, and should be you can now see it from here. Okay, so on the custom tab, I already add some informations, which is the, let me see back. Custom style. Okay. All right. I believe I probably did not modify before. Okay. But let's say if I want to edit the value for each of these individual part as well. If I go back here, you can see that the information here is still empty. Let's say if I open the front item, and I can go back here and I can find on the iProperties custom, also empty. And if I go into the custom style, does not appear. So what I can do is that I can just edit the information from here. Maybe this one is, let's say, style one, style one. Maybe this one, let me just copy. This one will be style two, and so on. Maybe this one is style three. And now once I edit the value inside of this bill of material, you can see that this one is not blue color, meaning that it will add that information for this front here. So if I click done and I try to reopen back, and I can go to the iProperties, now we have the information appear from here. And again, all the informations like the bill of materials, such as the appearance, okay, or color. So if I change it from here, it will apply to the original part as well. Okay, maybe for this, let's say this part over here. Okay, so if I drop, maybe I want this to be, let's say, orange. Oh, and I click done, should be become orange. And I open back the original model, it will update here as well. Okay, so we have a continuations that we can add from here, which is what you cannot do on the 2D part. So another things that people would like to do, for example, if I go to the bill of material here, is that you can add something like a description here. Maybe I put the length times width, for example. So for this part here, 140 times 25. This one is 152 times 74. You can do it manually. If you type in over here, you can do it something like that. Okay, let's say, for example, 20 mm times 10, for example, mm. But let's say if you want to have something that able to read from the parameter, so what you can do is that you can go into that part file. Okay, let's say for this case, I would like to use the jaw face here. So I can also directly edit from here. I don't have to go inside. So I can right click and open, and it will open up this jaw face. And if I go to the jaw face part over here, I can fill in the information from the project over here. Let me just see. Should be in the description, status. Subject. Description. All right, so should be over here. Okay, let's say I want to add something over here. Okay. If I go back over here, you should be able to see that I add something. But what I want to do is that I would like to add the length and also the width. So I just go back over here. What I can do is that I can go into the parameter and I can put the name of this parameter so that you can see it easily. Okay. So for this case, I would like to do some editings. Say this will be the length. So I'm going to rename this one as length, which is 76. And this one will be width. Cool. 35 mm. Now, if I go back to the parameter, I should be able to see we have the name over here. Now I would like to add this parameter into the descriptions. So I can right click and go to the I properties again. Then go to project. And to link that, what you can do is that you can add an equal and you can add the arrow signs over here. And maybe I want to put X, which is times. Right, and what you can do is fill in the information inside of this arrow. So this first information will be, let's say, length. And this one will be width. Right, essentially, there are also something that you need to turn on inside of the parameter. But let's say if I just go through with this, when I click OK, and I switch back to the base clamp over here, you should be able to see now it becomes X like this. Or I can go over here and you should see that we have X only. That's not able to read. So to ensure that able to read from the parameter, you can find back over here. So we have length and also width. You can select export parameter. So just make sure to tick this one. Once you tick, should be now able to read that from parameter. Let me just go back here. Now you should be able to see that you're able to read that automatically. And if you want to do some further editing, maybe you don't want to see the zeros at the back here. So what you can do is that you can edit the value over here, which is the domino value. right click and you can select custom property format and remove the trailing for of this. And remove the trailing. Done. When I go back here, now you should be able to see we have 76.35. And if I want to, I can go over here and edit the value. Let's say I want this to be, let's say 86. And this one will be, let's say 25, for example. So click done, click over here, and we have an update. Now it changed automatically so that your part list able to see the description much more easily. And we have a bit of link over there, right? So it shows you the link. Right. So basically that is all that I'd like to share with you. Right. So I hope this information is useful for you guys. Right. So that is the bill of material inside of Autodesk Inventor. So that is all from me. So thank you everyone. Have a nice day and bye-bye.